There are many ways to think about evaluating risk. Sometimes risk is created by unplanned events that you have no control over. Other times risk is created by being too early with your innovation before the market is ready to accept it. It may be too expensive. It may be something that the market's not sure it sees the value in yet. So there are many reasons why one can find themselves in a moment of high risk, and yet it's not unusual to see a year later, 2 years later, that you have passed that risk point and you're actually in a very safe period of time where the business can grow extremely rapidly. So evaluating risk is always going to be one of the most challenging tasks that an entrepreneur has. The real question is, do you have a plan B? What do you do when you get in trouble? Because it's almost inevitable, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, that you're going to, at some point, misjudge the risk, and you're going to get caught in a position where you're going to have to either pivot and change direction significantly, or you're going to have to slow down the spend, or you're going to have to offload some of the risk to a partner, even give up some of the opportunity, narrow your focus from what the original mission is, because it might have been too ambitious in the first place. Which means that the leader of a business that is dealing with uncertainty of risk has got to be adaptive, has got to be willing to make change, has got to be constantly surveying the market, constantly challenging the information you have coming back. The best CEOs may be instinctive at one level, but more and more over time, they become really believers in data. They look at the facts. They say, so what's the customer think? Does the customer like what we're offering? Is it a value to the customer? Are we churning customers? Are we finding the cost of new customers is affordable? Are we finding the cost to replace a lost sale from a lost customer or a lost profit from a lost customer is an affordable investment? These are all metrics that are customer-centric. So one way I think about risk is to judge risk through the vantage point of customer metrics, and judge customer metrics through the vantage point of the entire end-to-end system, from customer going all the way back to the origination of the product or service that you're selling to that customer. And to think of it as a feedback loop where, as you get feedback from your customer, because ultimately your customer is always right, so you've got to have a way of getting information from that customer, because customers can change their mind. So they may think one thing about your product at one moment, and competitors come out with something that's better than you have, and suddenly your customers have a very different view of what you are offering. So point of view, thinking about risk from the standpoint of where you are in the system, where you are in the stage of adoption with customers. It's always a lot of moving parts, and you need some context to view risk from. And my insight to you is more and more try to view risk through the eyes of the customer and try to make judgments as to whether you can reduce your exposure to risk by making adjustments in what you do yourself versus maybe bringing a partner in to work with you, or being able to get rapid feedback to know what things aren't working so that you can adapt, or what things are working so that you can expand. Risk cannot be completely controlled, but good judgment and good tools and good information that's evidence-based can be extremely good ways of bringing discipline into dealing with risk-taking. Entrepreneurs are by nature risk takers. They're by nature optimists, so you're bound to make mistakes because of your optimism. On the other hand, that's where true value is created, because ones who are able to solve tough problems at times of high risk are usually the reapers of huge rewards.